To the Spider Queen, map number 1. We are ready for more Meta Madness, everybody. The round robin is slowly but steadily coming to its conclusion. And currently we got Rospierre Doll against DMW. Tumor Spider Queen is the first map in the series. We have by now 16 heroes that are pre-banned. Yes, the number has been consistently rising and will probably still rise throughout the round robin until we're hitting the playoffs, where it will be locked in completely. We got Stitches banned first, but especially right now, a lot of the supports are being banned out, which means that we could start to choke them out a little bit. If you're unfamiliar with the Meta Madness concept, we have two rules to push people out of their comfort zone a little bit. First one is that heroes can only be played once within a series, and the second rule is that we have heroes that can't be used for the entire event, as you can see down here. Now, Meta Madness is a tournament, was always like a tournament that I hosted for the first time roughly 10 years ago, I believe, and has been tons of fun ever since its inception. Always iterated the format just slightly and evolved it over time. But the 2,000 euros prize money that we currently have for the event are fully also provided by me. Thanks at this point to everybody that supports the stream on on patreon.com/Khaldor. Huge thank you to all the supporters there. Again, this is only been made possible thanks to you guys. So everybody that wants to help to support the Heroes esports scene a little bit and become a supporter, you can check out the link that is in the description of the video if you watch this on YouTube, or go to patreon.com/Khaldor directly. Again, this is one of the best ways to support this year, and we've been hosting tournaments now for the past 6 years because of that. Now in the game at hand, that instantly also plays into a pick on Cho'Gall. Rospierre Doll has of course always been trying to play that Cho'Gall and put it out there, especially on maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen. So it might even come as a bit of a surprise that that wasn't a ban, because they played Cho'Gall multiple times already in the tournament, and it's always fun. Tychus gets banned for that very reason, and this is going to be a good one. With Tracer on the other side, Tyrael not picked as the main tank, because the Holy Trinity usually would then be Tyrael, Malfurion, and Tracer, but instead we get Anubarak. Malfurion has still been taken to give Tracer that overheal, but obviously they're currently looking at Cho'Gall and they're not going to be too happy. Anubarak at least gets a cocoon out against him, so that's the Walmart special with the 2-for-1. You trap quite a few more heroes through that cocoon. You get double value essentially, which means that for Rospierre Doll it's going to be important that whenever that cocoon gets used against Cho'Gall, that they burn it down very, very quickly and don't let the red team just push past the cocoon into a team fight. Leoric for the side lane, as we're heading into our first game. And interesting enough, these two teams are actually currently direct competitors in the ranking. So it's all about qualifying for the playoffs, but also about getting into a good spot within the playoff ranking, to make sure that you get a good seed into the double elimination bracket. And there could be a change here. If DMW plays well, they might be able to surpass Rospierre Doll. But of course the blue team has a lot more tournament experience than they do, so they should have the upper hand as they pick Alexstrasza for their support. We get Zul'jin and Malthael as essentially a bit of a counter to Cho'Gall, trying to really deal with him with that last rites, and also then with Zul'jin himself. Falstad is the final pick that allows them to gust away from a potential cocoon, or just generally save Cho'Gall, but also gives them a bit more global pressure. And with that, we're heading into the first map of the game, of the match. Tomb of the Spider Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Rospierre Doll going up against DMW. Rospierre Doll on the left in blue with Machko. On Cho, we got Lavakal on Alexstrasza. Arion is playing Falstad for the blue team, Bronek on Gal, and Atrax on Leoric. To the right side, DMW, the challengers, with Theoden on Malthael. We got Sereni on Tracer, the Dark Wolf on Anubarak, the Evil on Malfurion, and then your Shiro with Bone Slicer playing Zul'jin in game number 1. Can't wait to see how Cho'Gall is going to work out for them right now. The Big Bag Ogre going full on double trouble for us here in game number 1. And yeah, it should be an interesting one. Should be a fun match to watch. Cho'Gall is always nice. And the beautiful thing is that we have this already happening in game number 1 and don't even have to wait for one of the upcoming ones where additional heroes will be eliminated. So the drafts there should be fairly interesting. McOnek is in trouble though. Gets instantly attacked. It's going to be a bit harder later when we have last rites for Malthael, for example. Obviously, you will get Molten Block for Cho'Gall too. That helps with survivability. So it's going to be a bit of a cooldown battle between certain heroes, trying to see, okay, have they used their Molten Block? Can I use my last rites here? Do I try to bait the Molten Block out? They have to really coordinate the attacks well on the side of DMW if they want to have a good shot at this. Down at the bottom of the map is where we are having Tracer. Teams are going for the Bruiser camps at the same time, and Cho'Gall is just rotating between the lanes right now. I gotta admit that this whole thing with the mount that Cho'Gall carries is one of the best things. You can criticize Blizzard for a lot of stuff when it comes to Heroes of the Storm, but some of the heroes and the unique aspects that they really let bleed into the game and developed are super fun. So it's always a bit of a sad and happy time. There's so many cool details in the game. It's really just it's a shame. It could have been so much more, but with Cho'Gall they kind of nailed a lot of things here. So super fun to have a hero in the first place that is controlled by 2 people, and then just the details by him simply starting to carry his old mount are glorious. It's kind of funny though that he gets faster when he carries a mount than when he doesn't, but hey, don't look too much into it. Magic. It's all magic. But yeah, so by now we got the push through the mid lane. Everybody's just like trying to take the minion waves out, get a couple of gems together. There's no real big kill attempt so far. We have Falset helping out Leoki more so than anything else. And the top, that's where Malthael is sitting to also play it off against Cho'Gall a little bit, forcing Tracer into a bit of an unusual position at the bottom of the map now. DMW, a team that has been doing very well throughout the tournament so far, better than a lot of people, myself included, actually expected. But can they take down an opponent like Ross-Pierdol, which would benefit them a lot right now? We get, at the bottom of the map, Suljin taking the camp by himself currently, whereas Cho'Gall is holding 17 gems. We can always add that as a bit of a downside of playing Cho'Gall on Tomb of the Spider Queen in particular, that with only 4 bodies on the map, it is harder to turn in with him later on. It's just easier for the opponent to keep track of the heroes that hold a lot of gems. They are distributed amongst 4 heroes, not 5, so it makes it sometimes a bit easier to keep track on a single hero that has tons of gems and will allow the team to get an easy turn in, especially when we're talking about late game or sometimes mid game here, when oftentimes gems get, you know, just accumulated on one specific hero, especially after a team fight if a few of them died. By now everybody is trying to at least turn a few of the gems in. We have 32 already delivered by Ross-Pierdol and 8 gems only by DMW, so the first objective seems to be a bit more realistic for the blue team for now. Bed of Orbs on level 4 for Nubrak, so starting to slow things down there a bit, as we still have Cho'Gall with another quick push going for a play towards the top turning point. But Malthael is trying to sneak in his gems at the bottom of the map and just has. It's still 42 against 24. And, well, Cho'Gall, wow, little bit too far out there for a moment and got into range of the towers and stunned out. So that was a scary moment for them, with Lavekal instantly popping the Dragon Queen to attempt and assist them here. So that got scary. DMW nearly got that Cho'Gall kill. We are currently 4 minutes into the game and we haven't seen first blood yet, as the turn-ins slowly happen, but we haven't really gotten any kind of big headway yet. Cho'Gall is trying to deliver the final gems that they need for the first set of Web Weavers, but Mechonic wasn't able to pull it off yet. Itrak is now coming in to help out too. It's basically starting to all group up into a 5 versus 5. With the quest completed for Alexstrasza. Unfortunately, there's nobody here like Stitches that can heavily benefit from getting additional regeneration globes, but it's still going to give extra lane sustain, of course, to the blue team. Then again, Sireni is able to complete the turn-in for DMW, so after we saw Ross-Pierdol take an initial lead on this, we now have indeed the red team with the first objective of game number 1 in this series. So, good for them. Able to grab that, and when it comes to the damage output, we now have 14,000 for Suljin, 10,000 for Gal. Still not a single kill in the game, but this might change with the push that we're now observing right here. Small lead in experience too, by the way, for DMW. And Cho'Gall, if they could just block him there a little bit further, but he has still the mobility to rush away from them. and is able to survive all this. They are starting to struggle to keep that fort in play though. So this is starting to get a bit worrisome. They're losing a lot here, and Cho'Gall has to therefore dive out. They get Falstad involved too. And the kill on Zul'jin. Zul'jin is gone. Malthael gets chased, and so does Malfurion. Both of them die. So that's a triple kill. And Rospierdoll starts to pull ahead in experience and successfully defends their fort in the middle of the map. So, well done. Rospierdoll with a pretty sweet move there. And with level 10, plus now the turn-in available, they could actually get 2 turn-ins in a row, basically. They don't have the amount of gems just yet this moment, but if they don't lose anybody on the next push, by the time that the turn-in is potentially possible again, they will be ready for that. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one, because this could end up very badly for DMW. Now they have 15 stacks already for Zul'jin. Despite him dying earlier, this wasn't too bad, but they need level 10, and they need it quickly. They're super close to it too, thankfully. So now we're getting Zul'jin's ult for more survivability. Last Rites is in as well, and they have to try and now defend here. Cho'Gall already with the pressure play at the bottom of the map. In the middle, Zul'jin defending. Nobody at the top lane just yet. A couple of Siege Giants also helping out. Oh, the tactical pause! The 3-2-3 moment. The Dark Wolf pausing for the team. Yoshiro in the middle might get attacked by Itrax, and Falstad is actually coming in to potentially help out, but it's really the bot lane where the main music currently plays. With 15 stacks for Zul'jin, he is going to get a bit closer to his quest rewards throughout that fight, or at least one would assume so. He's currently defending the mid lane, so there's plenty of targets that he can go for. Leo is always going to be right in front of him. But yeah, tactical pause from the red team, and we'll see what they can do with it. But they have to defend now, and they have to do well, because as I said, once that this web wave is over, it's highly likely that the blue team has enough gems to go straight up for a second objective, unless DMW stops it or turns in themselves. We're back, baby! So, this was actually a little bit of a bigger one. Apparently, the Dark Wolf burned out his PC or something. He said in voice he has some issues, and then all of a sudden he went dark, and then told them later that he cannot start his PC. He might be playing from a laptop right now. And well, he instantly dies too, so that's definitely not the best start into this. Oh, that hurts a little bit. 4 kills to 0. The situation was already tricky enough as is, but now they are in danger of losing the fort at the bottom of the map. The only thing that I can say is that this would not have happened with a high-tech PC. Then again, they're getting a kill on Cho'Gall at least, so that's a win. Oh, they're losing Malthael though. Trace is being pushed back, but at least they got Cho'Gall, and that fort is still standing. But with a high-tech PC, he would still be alive. The Dark Wolf, that is, would not have dropped here, and they might have gotten more than only Cho'Gall. But yeah, that was actually something. 5 kills to 2. They defend the fort for now. There's not a lot of gems lost, though. If you look at the gem count currently, Arian essentially picked everything up when he gusted, so he can now turn in 43 by himself, and there's the second turn. And it's exactly the situation that I want before we headed into the attack itself, that they will get 2 in a row. Now, the first one wasn't quite as successful as it could have been. You can actually argue that it was. They didn't get the fort at the bot lane immediately, but if you just look at the minimap and realize that they were able to drop every single fort down to 50% or less of its hit points, that's, you know, in and of itself a win. If you now can follow up with the second play, then it was absolutely worth it. So the push through the middle, 13 to 12 the level count, which means talent advantage as well for Rospierdoll. They have 5 kills to 2. That was the Cho'Gall kill earlier. Defense in the middle is holding up, so that's nice. Up at the top lane, though, I'm not quite sure if I have really high hopes here, because Yoshiro is going to be in real trouble against Leoric. And with real trouble, I mean he's essentially dead. He can delay the inevitable, but there's the mace to the face, and Itrax is able to move out. He has 29 gems, so he should really make sure to get out, and, well, actually, he's going to lose all of them. Alright. That's the end of Itrax. That's the end of those gems. As already know. Just as they're able to get themselves some value, they lose Tracer with so many gems at the bottom of the map. Ah, that hurt. That one really hurt. That's 3 forts now eliminated after all, and the wall at the keep has also been taken down. This is crazy. So yeah, this is absolutely nuts. 7 kills to 3. We now have Leoric still roaming the middle. He obviously lost his gems at the top, but then they were able to kill Tracer. So basically, you know, same thing at the end of the day. They lost the same amount roughly. But we still have now 22 for the blue team. They've eliminated every single fort. They have a 1 level advantage. For DMW, it's important that they get their own turn in right now. They need to try and counterplay this a little bit. They already had 1 turn in earlier and nearly destroyed the fort in the middle, but they just need to do more now. They need to get something out of this. And that's going to be tricky against an opponent that is about to get a level 16 talent. So that's going to be rough. Tracer, Sirenius is saying like, boys, I got this. Did the boss just get pushed around by his own tornado? Did that just happen? Or did he just like glitch into a wall? I mean, either way, nobody has said anything about Tracer missing, so they're just going for the fights here, and Malfurion is gone. And Nubarak is at least picking the gems up, so that's another kill. But this is a bit of a gamble. If anybody moves top and sees this, they're just going to steal it. And yep, there it is. They were asking themselves, hey, by the way, guys, where exactly is Tracer? And now they can try and go for the boss here, because Malfurion is still down for another 14 seconds and Tracer's also low. So that's another sad moment right there for DMW. They were trying to be a little bit sneaky, but Tracer just takes way too long to grab that. And it gave plenty of time for Rospedol to check the boss after they realized she's missing. And now they have the push at the top. Red team turns in, so they get their own set of web weavers. Basically, each team is now going to defend. Red team is going to defend the top lane. Blue team is going to defend against the objective. Especially, of course, if they take the kill on Theoden now. But that's Malthael gone. And, oof, I gotta say, that's a 2-level gap now. Rospedol, look where they're defending against web weavers. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Like, the web weavers spawn at the keeps of DMW. That's bonkers. They're not going to do any structure damage whatsoever. 9 kills to 3 right now. Top side, that's where we're having Arian do his thing against the objective. Was actually trying to move down to the bottom of the map and then decided that he would stay longer. So they were thinking about forcing that fight there. Malthael is now back to business. And we got Itrax at the bottom of the map, just defending again against the last web weaver that is still in play. Blue team can easily move down now. At least we have 16 versus 16, but it's starting to be tricky for DMW. And again, this is an important series for them. If they can win 2 maps here, that would be a big win. Win 2 maps in this series, and you are in a great spot to overtake Rospedol in the leaderboard. But Anubara gets caught here on the first map. Tracer zips out. Megonic. Last rights dodge, but it doesn't matter. Here's the kill as Cho'Gall falls. Tracer gets dropped over on the left side. Suljin dies a moment later. And Theoden is possibly also being eliminated. So, yeah, that's him gone. We got Theoden killed. And the final one is the evil on Malfurion. And he is taken out as well. So, that's a full 5-man team wipe. He can delay it a little bit, but I think we all know that he's not going to be able to get out of this one alive. So him buying more time is probably not going to do anything. So huge team fight here, and a pretty impactful one from the perspective of the blue team. Now it all started with Cho'Gall actually getting killed, and this could have been just such a great fight for DMW if they were just able to follow up with more kills after that. But Cho'Gall was just a sacrificial pawn for then everyone else on the blue team just wrecking DMW. But if Cho'Gall just dies and they can follow up on this, this could have been great. This could have been exactly the comeback that the red team was hoping for. But now we have 41,000 damage for Gal. We are seeing 40,000 for Malthael. 34 and 35,000 for Tracer and Suljin. So they're getting good damage out. You just need to get those kills. It's 14 kills to 5, but now you have a blue team with level 20 talents. Yeah. Khaldor's gift is in. They have Wind Tunnel for Falstad. Obviously, his ult was upgraded for Leoric, so he's now buried alive. 3 stacks for Malthael. That's at least neat. I mean, it's a 15-second cooldown reduction. Should help them a bit in those fights already. they can get more out of it, even better. But the blue team is now getting Web Weavers, and this is going to be pretty rough. Yeah, so this is actually going to be really, really rough at this point. We have a talent advantage, a massive one with level 20s, and an objective. Malthael is already gone, and that is the beginning of the end. Anubarak dies too. The Web Weavers aren't even here yet, and it's already a 5 versus 3. Now they have full control over the middle. They go straight up for the first keep and try to pressure the rest of the heroes back towards the core 2. Down at the bottom of the map is just absolutely rough right now. So, yeah, likely going to be the end of game number 1 with the Dragon Queen now being popped as well. So, down in the bot lane, another keep that will likely fall, but the core lost its shield, is losing his hit points here. We don't have enough defenders available currently for DMW. So, game number 1 goes to Rospedol. Cho'Gall once again successful. GG and well played. We're going to head in game number 2 in a second. Guys, if you enjoy the content, if you like the coverage here, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps to spread the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past and might rejoin the game. So spread the love a little bit, help to promote the games here, like and subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the series. Infernal Shrines, map number 2. Alright, first one didn't quite work out for DMW, but to be fair to them, they had those problems with the Dark Wolf. I imagine for him dropping out of the game, having to reconnect, maybe even go to laptop didn't really help their standing there. Now we'll see if they recovered for game number 2, as I said before. If they win 2 maps, that would be the dream for them. I think even if they just win 1, they are still in striking range, you know, where they can try and surpass Rospedol in the standings. But now we're heading into Infernal Shrines. As a quick reminder, we have currently 16 heroes that are banned globally, and we have the 10 heroes on the previous map that cannot be played again. So that limits the pool further, and it will get interesting for sure here. Now, at this point, with Infernal Shrines and Cho'Gall already played, you of course still have a couple of really nice meta picks that you could still rely upon. But Stitches gets banned out. We've seen a decent amount of Stitches in Alexstrasza now. Now, Alexstrasza, to be fair, has been played previously. But yeah, these Stitches plays, I wouldn't mind some more of them. A lot of the synergies that you would normally look for with Stitches are, of course, now also out. I mean, again, the most obvious one would be Stitches Falstad. You gust after a Gorge happened and isolate the target further. So that's not possible anymore with Falstad being played previously. Maiev gets banned, and I'm just curious if we're going to see some crazy picks at some point now again. Kerrigan gets banned too. Obviously, there's quite a few heroes that you don't really have to care about any longer. And with the recent heroes that were added to the bans down here being supports, that's actually quite interesting. Now, if we're hitting more sub-goals on the Twitch channel, that is going to eliminate, by the way, Lucio and Malfurion next. So there's an actual chance that we're going to have more and more of a support choke coming in as we're heading towards the playoffs, which would make drafts spicy. We had in the past in Meta Madness some games that ended up with no supports, no healers being available anymore, and then the only heal or support that you were able to get was, for example, getting Abatha in, or getting Zarya in for some shields. Now, if it comes to that, in this Meta Madness is a very different question. I'm just saying that there is a chance that we're heading that way. Gul'dan and Oriel are being taken. So there you already have some pretty, I don't want to say crazy, but atypical supports taken early on. One of the supports that you could still get is, of course, Morales. If you have a Tyrael early pick. No backdoor here. I think it was DMW, right? Who did this pretty cool backdoor strategy on Blackheart's Bay. It's not an unknown strategy, but they executed it well, is what I was heading at. Cassia and Sonya. So we have our side laner already in. We got Cassia for damage, a couple of blinds on those shrines too. And now still the question of what we're getting for our final bans before we're heading into the remaining picks. With Gul'dan, you have AoE damage, and they are banning support, so you can already tell that people are realizing, the teams are realizing that healers are starting to become a rare commodity as we're moving into game number 2, game number 3. Imagine heading into the playoffs and then going to game 4 or game number 5, especially if previously one of the teams decides, hey, this is a good chance for us to play a double healer. they have like an Uther main tank into a second support. So once those plays happen, we could see some crazy stuff in a 4th or 5th map. Muradin gets banned, and with Gul'dan already delivering the AoE damage for the blue team, now of course just the question of what exactly we're going to get as our tank, as our side laner, and for the added damage. You can go for single target damage here, obviously, but especially side laners are also something that you need to focus on a little bit more, considering that a lot of them are pre-banned. And we get actually immediately 2 of them. So Lavakal on Imperius, and then we get Urel. You could go for triple frontline right now. You can play Imperius as your main tank, or you can also, of course, just play this as, hey, we're going to go for a triple frontline. They can swap. They can decide how they want to do this. Machko likely going to go for another frontliner here for them, but the option is there to go Imperius main tank, Urel side laner. Whereas for DMW, with their second attempt now to get a point, they go for Alarak and they go for Ana. So that's a bit of a very aggressive combo too. I'm curious if that works out for them. I really like Alarak as a champion, to see the hero in a game, because there is always this snowball potential, the scaling potential towards the late game. And that's a nice dynamic that I personally enjoy a lot. Unfortunately, it backfires more often than not, but when it works out, oof, it's just glorious. So, with the last pick here, we get Thrall. There's our triple front line. And that sets us up, everybody. Infernal Shrines, map number 2. Rospedal against DMW. We're heading to Infernal Shrines, and on the left side, the blue team with Machko on Thrall. We got Arion on Gul'dan, Itrax on Urel, Imperius played by Lavakal, and Bronek on Oriel. Over on the right side of the map, DMW with the Evil on Sonya, Yoshiro on Cassia. We got Sniper on Alarak, Sereni on Ana, and Tyrael gets played by Theoden, or Theoden. So noteworthy that the Dark Wolf is missing. So apparently the problem that he had earlier was severe enough that he just said, okay guys, I'm going to finish game 1 with you so that you don't have to accept the death loss here. But after that, I need to start taking care of things here. I need to order myself a high-tech PC to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen again in the future. And I absolutely can understand that thought process and sentiment. Stacks on both Cassia, Tyrael, and, well, as it happens, also on Alarak. So we're getting a lot of stacking for DMW. Sniper now coming in to help the team out. There is a bit of role swapping going on for them now as well. But, yeah, maybe this is the one that is going to help them to succeed and lock a win in. Fellflame build for Gul'dan. Lots of AoE thrown out with that. And then on top of it, we have Urel now with the light of Karabor. And it's party time over here at the camp on the blue team side. So apparently the directive for DMW in game number 2 is going to be aggression. Let's go, boys. We can do this. And, well, we will figure out if they really can or if that's not happening. The camp, at the minimum, goes to the red team. So already a little bit of success. Be aggressive, try and force some fights, steal the camp from the opponent away, get a few stacks in the process. Obviously, quite nice to have these skirmishes for someone like Cassia or Alarak, so that they can get their stacks together, especially once that level 4 connects for Sniper with Alarak, so he can stack this further. To be, then again, true to the trend, we also have Gul'dan, that is not going to be too sad if he's able to get his level 1 quest completed a little bit faster. But that's, of course, a completion quest. Whereas on the side of Alarak with level 4 and Cassia on level 1, we have some pretty endless stacking, more or less, going on. I think there were some nutcases that went into try mode and stacked some of these up completely. You know, we're just like leaving the PC on and then doing something for 3 days before coming back. And apparently if you stack it to the maximum, which is like 65,000 or something, you can one-shot literally anything. It would be kind of cool, though, if we ended up in a game, you know, where you have, I don't know, some things conspiring and all of a sudden you have Cassia on 500, 600, 700 stacks on level 1. It would be funny to see that. I can't even remember what the maximum is that we ever had. I think it was just under 200 or maybe 200, which was already bonkers. Rarely happens, but yeah. They get a kill too. So DMW is getting really aggressive here. And as I said before, I like it. I like that they said we can't just simply sit back and let them run their game on us. They will destroy us. So what we're doing instead is we're going to be a little bit aggressive over here. And we're going to try and put our own rhythm onto the game and play it out that way. Now, once level 10 hits, you have to double check that again. Nice! They got the early kill and now they got the follow-up on Gul'dan. So 2 kills already and all centering around the first objective. I gotta say, I like what DMW is doing here. Rospidol is an opponent that I would absolutely not underestimate if I was them. They are a team that is very likely gonna bounce back here, but they are currently behind. They've now lost 2 of their heroes. They're going to lose the objective. They're trying to make up for it a bit by going for Sonya at the top, and they will get her. So they made an immediate decision to instead push the top lane. And that was a really smart move to make, because now they have a camp pushing for the wall. They took a hero out, and they will do structural damage that the red team has to match first with their own objective that they're now getting. Now the reaction was quite quick. We had Alarak move topside and attempt to stop all of this. But down at the bottom of the map, we are about to get the first Punisher of the game, as both teams have level 7 talents. DMW is slowing this down slightly to allow Sonya to come back, and they want to give her a bit more time to take the camp over here. So they're still sitting at 39 stacks. Red team not making any aggressive plays for it. They will maybe start to take a few, but there is, of course, then eventually going to be a play by DMW to just get the final stack here and push this. They're waiting for Sonya to complete the camp as far as possible, but they will make sure that they're getting the Punisher now and then try to push through the bottom of the map. Sonya is now taking the camp, but Cassia... Ana is able to keep her alive here, but that got scary for just a second. Also for Oriel. Yeah, if Oriel gets caught here, that's also a disaster. So the Punisher is already doing work down at the bottom of the map, and the wall is now finally fully destroyed, thanks to those arcane sentries. But they want more than that. Urel is at the top, and Sonya is now moving towards the middle. Quest completed for Thrall. Good for him. 5 minutes in. But there's more damage to be done. The Punisher jumps, and Alarak is getting stacks. That's 10 stacks for him already. So job well done, and he keeps it going with 20 for Cassia. Not crazy, but it's there. And I'm actually more interested in how Alarak is currently playing this out. 14 stacks for him now. Gets the whip to the face. Gul'dan goes down. And Bronek is also dead. There's the double kill. They make it a triple any second. They want Thrall. They get Thrall. And it's a full quad kill. Yoshiro is somehow still alive, which is ridiculous in and of itself, considering that he was getting hit by the tower the entire time here. But that was crazy good. 6 kills to 1 now. They got level 10. And they have the stacks for Alarak. Again, it's not only the kills and experience. You're also getting the stacks in these fights that will serve you well in the late game. Alarak now with 98 sadism and 16 stacks on his level 4. Which is very, very good. We have 18,000 damage for him. He's the top damage dealer in the game already. And we can always, of course, assume that during the next few shrine fights, unless he becomes the primary target and gets instantly killed, that he will be able to get more stacks here. So if he can keep the pace up, he's going to be an absolute damage machine towards the end of the game. Ults are now ready though on both sides. We get Leap, we get Judgment, so they want to play aggressive through it. But here comes the counter attempt. And Leap. Whoa! But the Aegis was already there. They still die. Both of them. It's a triple, baby! There's a couple of counter pressure plays that are being done at the same time, and it's a 3-4-2 trade then after all. Still in favor of the red team. Yeah, nice Aegis as the leap comes in. Sonya was already mid-air as Oriel drops that out, but they still lost the heroes here. So 9 kills to 3, a 1-level advantage, and DMW is fighting tooth and nail currently to present themselves well here in the series and ensure that they have a shot to surpass Rospidol in the standing. Thrall at the top, not going to make it either, so he's getting killed. We have 20 stacks now for Alarak, and more importantly, we have 110 sadism for him currently. That's obviously still something that's easily reset if he is getting too aggressive. Cassia also killed, and the camp stolen, so it's not like the blue team didn't get anything here. But still. 23 stacks also for Tyrael. Let's not forget about him. And yeah, the next objective is now coming up at the top lane. Only one fort has so far been destroyed. And over in the top lane, that shrine, we still have fountains and forts for both of the teams. But only one has a level 13 talent just now. So if the blue team wants to fight on eye level, they have to stay on lane a bit longer and get the extra experience through the minion waves. Sleep darts on point. Cassia is already moving towards the top, and so is Sonya. It seems like Rospedal is going to get that level 13 talent eventually. They want to get it at the top lane, but it will lead to an initial start on the shrine for DMW. Unless they're willing to just fight for it, and it seems like they are. They're attempting to go for Sonya. Has to leap out. The evil, no compromises here, just doesn't screw around. It just says like, you know what guys, I'm just jumping out. I'm going to sacrifice the cooldown, 50 seconds, might even get it back towards the back end of the fight itself, but we can't lose anybody here now. And Alarak still getting those hits in, 23 stacks for him now. And he's doing work. The blue team has started to take the lead on the objective. We're talking about an Frozen Punisher this time. 25 stacks. Here comes the Earthquake. And the damage judgment. And they take down Imperius. Thrall makes it. He gets out. But Imperius is eliminated. And Anna is just supporting the team like an absolute monster from the back. One heal after another. Time and time again. And Sonya is dominating on the Shrine currently. Just taking down Shrine minion after Shrine minion to give the team a lead and eventually lead into a Frozen Punisher for them. There's another attack coming in as they're starting to make a play for Gul'dan, and they get him. Leap executed by Sonya, came on from above, and then Alarak able to murder them. And guys, Alarak is now sitting at 30 stacks on level 4. They are in a fantastic spot. 42 stacks for Cassia, 40,000 damage for Alarak. He's like heaps and bounds top damage in the game. They of course need to try and keep him alive as best as possible. If he gets his sadism reset, that would be a bit of a disaster for them. But you can't take the level 4 stacks away anymore. So those he is going to keep one way or another. 12 kills to 4. Sonya is now in the middle of the map, pushing the next lane as topside. The fort is getting attacked. Another combo from Sniper. As he jumps in here, gets a bit isolated, has to try and get out. The heals are coming, and he also got the ult from Anna, fully boosted, and makes a play for Urel, who gets crushed. 33 stacks now. Again, the Aegis avoiding the stun. Leap on Oriel. Thrall is already dead. Bronek creating a bit of space for himself with a whip, but has to rush away as the Punisher moves straight in for the keep after the fort was destroyed a moment ago. 120 sadism right now. 33 stacks on level 4 for Alarak. They have level 16 talents. 50 stacks for Cassia. And as the wall at the keep gets destroyed, they move towards the middle and they start taking out the last remaining fort of the blue team. Fantastic showing here in game number 2 from DMW. They weren't able to take it on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Rospedal just too strong with that Cho'Gall comp. But now that we find ourselves on the second map, DMW is absolutely crushing it. Great for them, but they haven't won it yet. In a great spot to do it, but they're not there yet. The level 1 quest, not fully completed yet for Alarak, by the way. Lots of damage coming from Sniper here. And they need to make sure that they're keeping him alive. Anna has her job cut out for her for sure. So she needs to be really careful in those fights to to not let him die. But the more he stacks his level 4, the more of a late game menace he's going to be one way or another. And for the blue team, yeah, it's now annoying. I mean, again, 2 levels behind, 1 talent behind. What are you going to do? Your opponent is still aggressively pushing. This has been the key to their success so far from beginning to end. DMW pushed from the opening. Was trying to make aggressive play. What they have to be careful of is that they don't overextend. They can't get too aggressive. The pressure I really like, but it's always a very fine, thin line that you have to toe. If you go too deep, if you stay too long, you can all of a sudden end up losing your advantage, especially when you start pushing for keeps and the core itself. So when the distance to safety is much bigger. So they're trying to do what they can here. Also give more opportunities to both Cassia and Alarak for stacks. And Alarak is already taking advantage of that as best as he can. But again, you gotta be cautious with this. Sonya is moving in. Could go for that leap. just sitting at the sides here, but they're not making a move yet, and the rest of the blue team is not willing to be forced into a battle. They're waiting for level 16. They're hiding behind the gates as best as they can. So 4 kills to 14, and down at the bottom of the map, still the next play being made. They're rotating from lane to lane for the experience and also trying to slowly get damage in on both lanes. 16 is now ready. Thrall, interestingly enough, is coming in with Thunderstorm now. So no synergy with the potential level 4 talent choice. Goes Thunderstorm here. They hit on... yeah, there's Leap, first of all. And Alarak gets out after being hit by Imperious ult. 37 stacks for him now. 39. He gets more and more with every single hit over here. Nano boost on Cassia this time. She's at 67. So, yeah, getting also lots and lots of damage. And you can see it in the numbers. Especially Alarak. But now they're all in the corner. And that's 2 down already. And a third one about to fall. Tyrael dies. That's 3 heroes eliminated. Alarak at least is able to get out. But this is exactly the problem. I mean, right there. They are in the corner. Yrel starts us up, and then all of a sudden they're getting blocked. They're all in the same spot. Gul'dan comes in with some mad damage, and now it's an objective that could be taken by Rospetol as they are trying to start a comeback. 72 stacks for Cassia. Alarak with 41. They have to be very careful now. Alarak in particular. Getting a couple of hits here, as long as you're 100% certain that nobody is close enough to you that could target you, is kind of important. But don't overdo it. If you die, dude, first of all, it would be a staggered death, which you can already not afford in the first place. Second of all, you would lose your sadism. So this is exactly the situation where you can poke, but you gotta be mega careful. And he got himself some stacks, so he was a bit careful on this. Still trying to rank up the numbers, but they get the reinforcements now, and they're only half a level away from level 20. So I doubt that the Punisher can even get the fort. Unless, of course, we're getting more kills. But for now, they're still defending. Sonya's already coming through the top and would have been able to leap in. Thrall missing. So without him, they're not going to be forced into a 4v5. No fort destroyed. They're close to level 20 now. Red team, after this little setback, is still stabilizing again and fine so far. But the blue team is catching up a little bit. Still a level behind in experience. Still a wide gap. Here comes level 20 now. Hasty bargain for Alarak. And Judgment gets upgraded from Tyrael. So this is always a pretty nice one. I mean, again, cooldown reduction is obviously amazing. And then you have the cast range increase. So for Theoden, this is a really nice tool now where he can start those fights for the team. 15 kills to 7. They're actually not pressuring too aggressively currently. So they're not using that level 20 talent to immediately jump in here. But they want the opponent's camp at a minimum. So Itrax has to jump out. They obviously know that the camp is now being taken. But yeah, they're not going to engage here. Not without level 20. They want their Storm Talons. And after that, it's an even game. At least in fights. The difference will only be structures. That is, of course, where DMW is ahead. But Rospetol could still bring this back with a Punisher or two. If you win 1 or 2 objectives in those team fights, you have a shot there. Quest temporarily completed for Thrall. And they're still nibbling on the edges. The damage output in and of itself, I mean, 62,000 now for Alarak. Second is Gul'dan. But Alarak is really the main threat in the game. And they're trying to push for this keep a little bit. They can't really do too much, but just a bit of damage here and there is slowly getting you where you need to be. The top shrine that will spawn next is also close to only one fountain for DMW. The team is still pressuring through the bottom of the map. Anna and Alarak are the only ones, by the way, that have not died yet for the red team. And here come the level 20 abilities. That gives us for Auriel the Shield of Hope. And yeah, over here we got the Seraphim for Yrel. Thrall obviously went with his Earthquake upgrade. Haunt for Gul'dan, which could also help them to get some easy kills here. But it's all about the camps right now, and the teams are still a little bit cautious. Everybody wants to have a decent reason to actually fight, which means that the objective is likely where it's going to be. And the shrines are getting activated now. For the blue team, it's also the idea of pushing the lanes out a bit to make sure that during the objective, there's not all of a sudden several catapults amassing on a lane that would threaten those keeps. But this is essentially now the moment. Rospidol can make a pretty decent stand here. They still have the disadvantage of not having a fountain in the back when they're going into the fight. But, at the same time, this is now an even talent battle. And it will be from here on out to the end of the game. Shrine is active, and Sonya is gonna start it up. Bit of damage from Gul'dan already with the Echoed Corruption over here. They have to be very cautious of his Haunt in particular. That's definitely a game-deciding ult, specifically when paired with Lavakal's own, if they can sync those up. And they're already going for a bit of poke here, as we have Alarak doing the exact same. 120 sadism right now. Keep Hasty Bargain in mind. So he gets more hits in against the opponent's team. Big hit! Completes his level 1, and now we have 52 stacks for him total. The leap out of the fight by Sonya again, as they are getting ready to tap the fountain. Alarak is at 130 sadism, 53 stacks, 78 stacks for Cassia. They're scaling massively. There's the Haunt. This is the chance to kill Alarak. They want him. And Sereni is ready and helps out Sniper. That was the big move, not letting Alarak die. They're turning it on Imperius. They're turning it on Gul'dan. Both of them fall. And at the top, Itrax is also very much alone. Gets targeted, pops his ult, but will die eventually. This is exactly what DMW needed. Frozen Punisher for the team. Beautiful moment. Alarak was attacked. They were able to keep him alive. He's sitting at 80,000 damage now. Easy top damage in the game. With very, very solid siege damage as well, I might add. So looking great on this. And now that they're going for the top keep, this will fall. Down at the bottom of the map, a double catapult is damaging the keep here too. And it's down to 50% of its HP. It might actually fall. They have to abandon the top lane, the bot lane as they're going towards the top. Thrall was targeted. Oriel was hoping to keep him alive. That backfired. So Thrall is gone. So is the keep. Bottom keep will fall to the catapults, but it's all about the core right now. DMW keeping the ranking, the leaderboard, and this series spicy as they are about to lock in the victory on Infernal Shrines with a beautiful performance on the second map. 148 sadism, 153 sadism for Alarak, and 60 stacks. Absolutely nuts. GG, and well played. Coming up next, we have game number 3 for you guys. Before we go, a big shout out to everybody that is supporting the channel on patreon.com/Khaldor. Really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very, very much. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support our efforts to keep the Heroes of the Storm esports scene live with all of the events and tournaments that we're hosting, then please consider to check out patreon.com/Khaldor and support the channel there. It's the best way to support all of the things that we're currently doing for the scene and plan to do in the future. With that being said, enjoy the next game of the series. Battlefield of Eternity! So, game number 3. Guys, we got a 1-1. For DMW, this is already a bit of a success, I would say. As I said before, Rospidol is a direct competitor, so getting in the win here is nice. If they lock in a second map, that would be amazing for them. Even if they lose here, they still technically have the chance to pull ahead overall with good performance on the last weekend, and depending on what Rospidol does. But if they can win now, that would really, really help them. So we have now 20 heroes that are unavailable because they were played before, and 16 are fully banned out, which means that 36 heroes are unavailable as we're entering the draft, and then of course you have 6 that get banned. So this is gonna get interesting. We have quite the banger on our hands here. Lucio gets eliminated, and I already said before that we're now having more and more of the supports that are being globally banned, and therefore if you target supports during the ban phase, you can force your opponent into certain directions. There's still plenty around. As people keep saying, like, Lily's still open. And she will be open for a long time. But you have Uther, for example, still available. I believe Stukov should still be up too. So, yeah. Varian gets picked first. On the other hand, we have Li Ming banned out. I mean, it's Battlefield of Eternity after all. So a lot of the damage dealers that you would typically see here very quickly are gone. Could get Jimmy. Suljin. Another option on battlefield, given what else is unavailable. I mean, think about it. Just look at the heroes down there. Vala gone. Hanzo gone. Li Ming now eliminated. I mean, most of the heroes that you would see as immortal damage are now not available. And that means that all of a sudden you have Lunara, Jimmy as good options, Suljin as a single target damage could be picked, and Reyna is already there together with Stukov, so they went for the StarCraft rotation here. That's also variant into Stukov, so you now have a taunt into Lurking Arm. You get the silence. If you get a bit more... yeah, a bit more burst damage, and then Jimmy with a bit more single target damage, you can go for a quick kill here. At the end of the day, this is a bit of a sniper comp that they're already playing. They have the tools to go up against the Immortal, but they also can, of course, go for kills. And we've seen a fair amount of teams that on Battlefield of Eternity recently have started to focus with the level 1 talent on Jimmy, not even on Exterminator, which we traditionally see if he's picked here, to attack the Immortal, but more so trying to go for stacks and added damage so that they can get kills, and then after the team fight, focus on the objective. So, yeah. The ban on Uther is already highlighting what I said earlier. Supports, the entire support group is being thinned out, which means that you can really force your opponent a little bit outside of the traditional picks. Now, there's still a few around here, but with ETC and Lunara, we now have Whitemane, for example, that gets picked. And Kel'Thuzad! Okay! Kel'Thuzad Lunara. That's going to be our damage for DMW. Kel'Thuzad is obviously one of those heroes that can have a huge impact, and normally he doesn't get picked because you have to contest with someone like Tracer, Genji, whatnot. And that's just not the case here. So if you can keep him safe, if you can shield him, who knows? This might go pretty well for him. Artanis for extra damage against the Immortal, which I don't mind. Again, there's so many side laners now banned out that even Artanis makes sense. And that leaves us with Muradin. So a double tank front line. The Evil or ETC is going to play on the side lane. And we're going to have Muradin as our main tank. So ladies and gentlemen, game number 3. We're headed straight for Battlefield of Eternity. Game number 3. It is the final map of the series. And on the left side, we have Artanis, played by Lavakal. The liability today here for the blue team. Machko on Varian, we got Arion on Reyna, as expected, going for stacks here. Itrax on Greymane, and Bronek is playing Stukov for the blue team. As over on the right side, we get the Evil on ETC for the top lane, Yoshiro on Lunara, Theoden on Muradin, Sereni on Whitemane, and Sniper with Kel'Thuzad. All right. Yep, let the crazy begin. Absolutely here for this right now. This could be a lot of fun. Now, we have with Kel'Thuzad obviously that baseline quest that you really want to complete as quickly as you possibly can, and that's usually where most performances of Kel'Thuzad players are being measured at, because if you complete this quickly, then you get that extra spell power and you will have a much bigger impact, just generally speaking. So this is kind of what we're waiting for right now. We have, at this moment in time, a very aggressive red team at the bottom of the map, because topside is a 2-3 split in favor of Rospedol. So they're getting more out of that top lane, with Greymane and Alarak doing their... Artanis doing their thing. Yoshiro is assisting, on the other hand, from here on out. And, yeah, Lavakal is already eating a bit of damage currently. As down at the bottom of the map, we have 0 stacks so far on the baseline for Kel'Thuzad. This is going to be important for them. Talking about stacking, I mentioned before, but Jimmy, yes, he is indeed stacking and is now at 6 stacks for now. Topside, still, it's not really that often that you see a 2-3 split, but we have the entire scout now and they just want to see what exactly Greymane, for example, is doing. Because once that Itrax moves down to the bottom of the map, Lunara will actually mirror that and also move there. But they are just happy leaving that as it is right now. Makes it, of course, also a bit better, easier to deny stacks to the opponent. And well, you know what? Kel'Thuzad is gone. That's not good. Not a lot of stacks, and then also losing Kel'Thuzad immediately. Yeah, that hurts. That can very quickly become problematic. So at the top lane, Lavekal currently sitting totally tight, just playing this a bit slow because Greymane was moving down to the bottom of the map just in case that the camp was about to be contested. Not the case, but he needed to be careful in that regard. Yeah, they try to go for Jimmy. Not a lot of mobility for him though, but there comes the taunt from Varian, lurking arm, and Muradin gets out, jumps away, but he's taken tons of damage. And now we're getting some moves from Kel'Thuzad finally, so yeah, the man gets value. Has 3 stacks now on his baseline. Doesn't change the fact that this entire taunt and lurking arm combo can wreck you, so they need to be very, very careful whenever Varian makes his approach and starts joining the fun here. The camps are about to be claimed as the Immortal is soon spawning, so we have over on the right side. We got the camp nearly locked in on the left. They've already done exactly that. 16 stacks now for Jimmy, which is actually pretty decent out of the laning phase alone, the pre-objective phase. So this could very quickly be snowballed a little bit further. Itrax is at the top already doing his thing. Nice damage again from Kel'Thuzad, getting stacks together too. They want the kill on Bronek. And yeah, there comes the dwarf with a jump, a kill, and then a stun on Varian, who they target next. The halftime show, though, goes to Rospiadol. They might lose Varian now. Very likely they will. Lunara survives, but the halftime show is a complete loss to them. So if they want to have a chance at the objective, they need to now really bring the damage, which is what they're trying to pull off. Interestingly enough, of course, this also helps Jimmy a little bit with stacking. This helps Kel'Thuzad with stacking. And they need just all of that for the mid and the late game. ETC is trying to slow them down, but the objective will go to Rospidol. It will have a pretty small shield, though, with Lunara just continuing spewing acid over here and dropping the hit points with the damage over time. Team fight, that's a different story, though. If they can still fight this one out and maybe even get a kill, that would help them with that push. The blue team is on a prowl currently, but they are not able to take anybody out. They were aiming for ETC here, couldn't quite hack that, and now that we have at the bottom of the map everybody just assembling with the exception of Greymane and Artanis, this is going to hurt on 2 lanes. Rospiadol is pushing through the bot lane for the fort, and they have Greymane in walking form topside taking another tower out and getting assistance from Alarak as they're using the Inspire buff on the minion wave to get even more damage in. That fort might not fall, but it's definitely going to suffer a lot of hit point losses. Down at the bottom of the map, defense is so far going pretty okay. Fort down to 50% of its HP. And at least Kel'Thuzad is getting stacks together. Same is true for Jimmy, who's already sitting at 28 stacks. Lunara was hoping to get a kill. Not quite able to pull it off, but with the help of Kel'Thuzad, they do it anyways. Jimmy goes down at 28 stacks, and Kel'Thuzad is now sitting at 17, so getting closer and closer to that full quest reward. I mean, already he has, of course, the Glacial Spike. That is going to help them with control, but for the extra damage, they need the full completion of this quest, and that's what Kel'Thuzad is still working on. But already looking at the damage numbers, he's sitting at 12,000, which is pretty respectable. Lunara is at 11k. We got 16,000 for Jimmy, who's top damage in the game currently. Obviously, we're not level 10 yet or anything, but it's been pretty dynamic between the lanes because of this consistent 2-3 split that they were running here. The reactions that we get from DMW, now they got Lunara and ETC at the top, still trying to save that fort, but Artanis is moving down to the bottom of the map, trying to help out here. Looking maybe for that swap, and misses it against Kel'Thuzad. That would be the nightmare for Sniper. Sereni on the move, on the run, able to get out. And we got 22 stacks for Kel'Thuzad. Again, he is moving there. So is Jimmy. 33 stacks, 6 minutes in is more than respectable. Greymane is gone, 4 kills to 1. When it comes to kills alone, it's really DMW that is running the show. Absolutely. Structures, different story. That's where it gets dangerous. And of course, it's not only the heroes on the red team side that are scaling potentially into the late game. Especially looking at Jimmy, that single target damage could get absolutely out of hand. And time will tell. For now, Rospedal is down at the bottom of the map trying to get those hits together. They know that this series is important. It's not only important for DMW, obviously, for them as well. If they win here, it makes it much easier to stay away from DMW in the rankings and won't allow them to take over the position. But Machko is in trouble. Comes in on Kel'Thuzad. They want the kill. They can't get it immediately. There's the oldest level 10 abilities drop. And damn, that damage right there. It's a triple, baby. As Kel'Thuzad is crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. He's not done with the quest yet, but boy, they win the objective and they do some serious work on the blue team. Artanis went to the top, did some damage there, but the objective with a 50% shield is now taken. Hitting that level 10 ability in the middle of the fight obviously helped them a ton. And now that we have it for Rospedal, the defense gets set up against the Immortal. But this is going to do work at the top now. So, yeah, they are going to wreak havoc here. They want that fort. Muradin is still down at the bottom of the map. Using his glorious AoE to try and push here. Good luck with that, my friend. I mean, a push like this is now a bit more dangerous if he decides to go for it, simply because with auto attacks you can now trigger that Inspire buff on minions. That's the one thing where you can now say, alright, this might make a little bit of sense, but I think they could benefit from Muradin's Stormbolt at the top lane too. There's another spike, and the quest is completed for Kel'Thuzad. So now they get the extra damage for him. 8 minutes in, and now they can do some work here. Fort at the bottom of the map has taken some damage, at the top too, and Kel'Thuzad with another kill. Bronek is low too, gets slowed, gets targeted, gets killed, and Kel'Thuzad with another control play, this time against Varian and Arian. So Machko is already down, Arian is able to move away. He's on 42 stacks now, but as well as Jimmy is stacking, as much damage as he's getting out, as great as this game currently is for Reyna, it is still the Kel'Thuzad show. It absolutely is. 26,000 damage. He might not be the top damage dealer in the game currently, but he is making the utility plays. Those glacial spikes and chains that he's throwing out are doing absolute work, and then he comes through with kill after kill for the team. So this is looking really, really good. Now, the one thing that I actually have to say is that it's still a bit of a surprise, maybe, that ETC went into a mosh pit, considering that they would have benefited from a stage dive. Very much so on this map, too. But if they can land a good mosh at some point, it would all be worth it. 43 stacks for Jimmy. Not bad, my friend. Especially considering that they only have gotten a single kill and 10 heroes died. So, given how much pressure is on them in every single team fight, Jimmy is doing pretty okay here. Machko hiding over on the right side and able to hearth out, but without the tank, they're not even trying to defend the fort. Which means another structure is now gone. DMW! Guys, seriously, they are, to me, so far, I want to call them a bit the surprise of the tournament. They came in as a bit of an underdog. That's undeniable. As a team that was trying to get better, improve from game to game. Not totally unknown or anything, not what I'm trying to say here. But they were definitely the underdog against some teams, you know, that came in with a lot of tournament experience, that were part of tons and tons of competitions over the last couple of years. And that was just a huge advantage. And DMW, they took their occasional map here and there, but now in the series against Rospedal, they're actually threatening to take 2 out of the 3. So now Greymane is gone, Hyperion gets utilized, they go for the second kill, Artanis dead, and the Stormbolt on Machko as they want Varian too. So they come in, try and drop Varian, Machko in some trouble, starting to get out. They are not able to get a third kill, but they can definitely go for a halftime show and very likely for a pretty big Immortal shield on the whole thing. There's 10 more seconds until Artanis is back. So they can start poking. And they have nice tools to just poke from afar anyways. And they keep doing it here. So, yeah, they're burning that Immortal down. And you can tell that Rospedal realizes, this is not working for us. Nice save on... nice! Great save on Lonar, actually. But they're now turning again in the front lane. And Machko might fall here. He's not the only one. The first one to die is Stukov. Then... yeah, Varian is dead, and this is not looking good whatsoever for Rospedal. They're losing too much here and too many fights. In the entire game, they haven't managed more than a single kill, and it's going to be 100% shield on the Immortal. This is going to be brutal. This will hurt. They're already doing damage at the top before anything else happens here. So, yeah, here they are with level 16 talents, which now gives us also the shared punishment. That sounds a little bit sexy, doesn't it? I mean, come on. Shared punishment. When I hear that and I look at Whiteman and I'm like, baby, you can punish me in the bedroom all you want. Like, I'm totally game here. So, some of these, I mean, look at those talents. I definitely know what the person that created those talent names was into. I mean, just saying. Hyperion is out. We got the Hungering Cold for Kel'Thuzad. And now they're trying to go for the keep at the bottom of the map. Level 16 is ready. Big talent advantage, even with the 50 stacks that we now have for Jimmy on the side of Rospiadol. They're struggling, and that shield is still going strong. Their shield is still going massively strong. Now they try the kill. They get it. Jimmy is gone, and this might just be game. They go for Lavakal. They go for Trash Tannis, and he is dead too. Third time that he falls. That's the end of Greymane, and the Immortal is already straight up on the core. So, yeah, well done. Well played. 18 kills, 2-1, and they take 2 out of the 3 maps played. DMW shaking up the leaderboard a little bit and threatening Rospiadol with a great series here. Well done. GG. Well played.